Myron, get back to work. I'm really starting to hate you, Myron. No, that doesn't mean I'm necessarily going to harm you. Yeah, I know. Beliefs and feelings inform actions, yeah. Don't worry, Myron, I'm not going to hurt you. Whew. Sorry you had to hear that. Just some inter-office problems. It's been a very busy day, but my dopamine's up again because Capturing Christianity had a great 60-second video. Welcome. Who was here first? Myron. Alias fake name 10,000 Pine Points, Jax 12 5,000 Pine Points, and Felix Graphics 3,000 Pine Points. And can this be? Bill Shirk, weren't you the biggest loser last time? How do you do that? How do you be the biggest loser 2 live streams in a row? That's incredible that you're that big of a loser. I mean, to goof up that badly twice in a row? I don't know what's wrong with you. Okay, so anyhow, back to Capturing Christianity. Let's see here. Myron, why didn't you set up this screen captures beforehand? Why do I always have to? You know what? Myron's paid $9 an hour, and he's about $8 an hour overpaid. True story. Okay, let's take a listen to what Cameron has to say.
So I've got 3 questions that I want to ask atheists.
First of all, what's with the audio quality? Like, that's horrible. I expect more from a guy like Cameron. But anyhow.
And these aren't gotcha questions. I sincerely want to know the answer to these questions. First question is, do you believe that God does not exist?
Yeah, I do not believe God exists.
So you kind of either have that belief or you don't.
Correct.
You believe that God does not exist or you don't. If you answered yes to that, then you're ready for the next question. The next question is, do you believe in evidentialism?
Yeah, I lean that way. I don't think that's the only way, but
evidentialism is the view that your beliefs ought to be proportioned to the evidence. You shouldn't just believe something without evidence. Those are the first 2 questions. You answered yes to both of those.
I did.
If you have the belief that God does not exist, and you also believe in evidentialism, you're ready for the third question. And the third question is, what is your evidence that justifies your belief that God does not exist?
Okay, I would say my evidence to justify the belief that Allah doesn't exist is basically that it's reported that Allah had this prophet and that Allah through the prophet made some prophecies which I think fell flat and didn't come true. So that's just one very quick, simple justification for me to believe that Allah doesn't exist. Hang on one second. I'm getting a text here. It's from Cameron. Cameron's saying, we're not talking about Allah, we're talking about God. Oh, okay. Sorry, my mistake. I got confused. Okay, no, I don't believe God exists. Yes, I believe in evidentialism. What's my justification that God doesn't exist? I think there's good reason to doubt that God visited Joseph Smith a few hundred years back. I see internal contradictions with God's holy word found in the Book of Mormon. Hang on, I'm just getting another text here. It's from Cameron again. No, we're not talking about Islam. We're not talking about Mormonism, Doug. We're talking about the God of the Bible. Oh, my mistake, Cameron. Okay. Yes, I don't believe the God of the Bible exists. I believe in evidentialism, and my reason, the evidence to say that uh, God doesn't exist is because the whole idea of God not being a Trinity, it doesn't solve the problem of the one and the many. So I just can't buy the God of the Old Testament. And then the Old Testament atrocities, God claims to be all loving, all good, all just, and I see injustice in the Old Testament. Hang on, I'm getting another text. It's from Cameron again. No, we're talking about the Christian God, Doug. Oh, why didn't you say so, Cameron? Okay. No, I don't believe the Christian God exists. Yes, I believe in evidentialism. What's my evidence that the Christian God doesn't exist? Well, when I look at the Christian God as found in the New Testament, I see many internal contradictions with the Calvinism of the Christian God. It shows a God that wants to create something that he doesn't want, and that's an internal. Hang on, I'm getting another text. It's from Cameron again. No, not that God of Christianity, the other God of Christianity. Oh, the non-Calvinist God of Christianity. You see where I'm going? Good night. See ya. This is so easy. Three quarters of my brain tied behind my back to answer this question. The question, though, is for Cameron here, do you lack belief in the Calvinist God? Or do you know that the Calvinist God doesn't exist? Are you a Calvinist God atheist, Cameron? And if so, do you appreciate evidence? Do you value evidence? What evidence do you have that the Calvinist God doesn't exist? Why are you an atheist towards the Calvinist God, Cameron? I think he doesn't. I don't think Cameron's a Calvinist. Now, I asked this question on Twitter just an hour or so ago, and someone says, well, that's because I have good reading comprehension. I know how to read the Bible, and the Calvinist God is not found there. Uh-huh. You don't think John Calvin, you don't think even the greater Calvinist, James White, knows how to read the Bible? My goodness. So here's my advice. Whenever a Christian asks, like Cameron, asks an atheist like me that question, what's your evidence that your God doesn't exist? Just ask him, what's your evidence that the Calvinist God doesn't exist? I know it's a little bad to answer a question with a question, but you can answer first like I did, and then it will eventually get to this. And, I don't think a non-Calvinist can justify that Calvinism could not exist, right? And then you get into things like certainty. Well, okay, maybe the Calvinist God exists, but it's not plausible. It's not that possible. It's possible. And when you ask them why the Calvinist God doesn't exist, they'll say things, well, because he doesn't decree all these evil things and so forth. And then I'll just say, well, maybe God, the Calvinist God, has morally sufficient reasons to decree before the foundations of the earth that, 8 million Jews had to die in World War II? Yeah. Come on. These weak-kneed Christian non-Calvinists just can't take the truth. But you know what? I have a confession to make. I used to call myself an agnostic atheist. I'm not saying I'm changing that for sure, but I got a confession. I think I got to take the word agnostic out. Now, is this me coming out of the closet as a hard atheist? Am I sending shivers down the back of all these other atheists and Christians? Actually, I bet you a lot of Christians applaud this. They go, yeah, good job, Doug. Take a stand. Enough of this wishy-washy stuff. But here's the thing. I still truly believe that I'm open to the idea of a God existing. I'm open to seeing evidence that this God exists. Now, can I still be a hard atheist and say that? I think so, right? I think I can be a hard atheist and still say, well, you know what? Maybe a God exists and his plans are to reveal himself in 2022. February 2nd, 2022. 2022. I think a smart God would do something like that, to have all the twos in there. But the thing is, I can still be a hard atheist and say that, right? And then I just change my mind. What do you guys think? Should I become a hard atheist today? Should I kneel down at the altar of hard atheism and commit my life? Because for years now, I've been saying I'm a hard atheist against Judaism, Christianity, and Islam. Now, I don't know too much about the Eastern religions, but I'm pretty confident those are not true either, even though I haven't studied them as much. So I don't know. I'm going to open up the room, and I want people to weigh in on this whole thing about lack atheist versus hard atheist. It's open to anybody but Steve McRae. Kitty. Yeah, Steve, if you're here, you can even come in. And now the problem I see that a lot of people would say is, well, if you become a hard atheist, then you got to justify it, right? You got to be able to defend it. I think I can. Right? Like, what's the difference between a God who is hidden and plays peekaboo and a God that doesn't exist? What's the difference? The room's open. Oh, you need the link. You know what? And the older I'm getting, the more I'm thinking that even the question of God is irrelevant. What's that called? An igneist? Igneist? No, that's a rock. Igtheist? So if you think the concept of God's irrelevant, or if you think like even the definition of God is so nebulous, it's irrelevant, what takes precedence? Igtheism or atheism? Because atheism really doesn't really mean anything. I mean, it's who cares? Okay, the room's open. Pin tweet. I want if there's atheist. This is actually, I guess, open to atheists more than Christians, or theists. But if there's an agnostic atheist here who wants to convert me back, I'm on the edge. I tell you, I'm teetering. I could, depending which way the wind blows, I might fall into hard atheism. And if you want to bring me back out of this pit of despair, you got to do it now. Hi, Brenda.
Hello, Doug. How are you?
Should I become a hard atheist?
Yeah, if you want, it doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter.
I agree with. Well, it doesn't.
Okay.
It's not. It doesn't matter what. It doesn't matter whether you are a lack theist or an atheist. It simply doesn't matter. You can adopt either one. One is a belief about a proposition. The other is a belief. Is sort of is an actual statement of a proposition. So I actually agree with Steve McRae. I think he's correct, but I don't think it matters. It doesn't matter. So,
and that's called But the whole idea doesn't matter.
It-
Should that be? Should I just call myself an atheist?
yeah, I think you could. I think you could.
But the thing is, am I being honest if I call myself an atheist because I am interested in the topic? So it's not like I'm not apathetic because theism has
Right, you're not apathetic.
yeah, theism has huge implications on planet Earth. So I don't know. That's a good question. Does atheism mean that you are apathetic or you think the God concept is irrelevant? But even if it's fictitious and completely false, it's still relevant in the lives of others, right? So
I've never looked at it beyond the definition, and I don't even remember what that is for atheism. I just think that it's a technicality that Steve McCrae is correct. Technically, um, in philosophical circles, an atheist is someone who has the positive belief that God does not exist, that no gods exist. But you could call yourself a lacktheist if you want. That just means that you feel that there's not sufficient evidence to give yourself. It's an attitude towards the proposition.
but I also think it's
So
okay to say you're atheist towards some gods and not others. Like what I did with Cameron here, Bertuzzi. I said,
yeah,
like Cameron, I think, is an atheist towards the Calvinist God. He doesn't believe that God exists.
I think he believes. I think he believes that the Calvinist God does not exist. Correct.
Yeah. So wouldn't that make him an
But
atheist
I
towards
don't
that
know
God?
his. I don't know if he's a Calvinist or not. I mean, I haven't heard him say one way or another. I would expect him to be an evidentialist, not a presuppositionalist. And it doesn't seem to me to come off as a hard Calvinist, where there's an elect few who get saved, and and your salvation is predetermined. I don't think he believes in that. So I don't see him agreeing to that.
I actually think part of him does believe that, but he's some type of
Oh, I don't know.
he embraces the paradox. But anyhow, I got Mason waiting here. So
Oh, okay. I
you're
just wanted to say that. Yes.
yeah,
Yes, sir.
you're just saying the bottom line is do what you want, Doug, doesn't matter.
I think the important thing is what the person that you're speaking to, what do they believe? What is their position, and why do they believe it? And do they have good reasons for believing the way that they do? That's what's important.
Yeah. Gotcha. Okay. Thanks, Brenda. Take care. I like Brenda because she didn't even say goodbye. I like that. Hey, Mason.
Hey, how's it going?
It's going well. I'd say about a 8.9, but I'm on the fence. I mean, I'm almost going to fall into the precipice of hard atheism. Should I let myself go and just fall?
I I don't think it makes sense to do that. Like the Tic Tac analogy.
Yeah.
So I think what you're doing is you're saying, I know it's not three Tic Tacs. I know it's not four Tic Tacs. Or no, it's probably more like you're saying it's
Okay. I get where you're going with this. I
yeah,
understand.
yeah.
But here's the thing. When I say no, if I say I know there are no gods, I'm not what's the phrase? Cartesian certainty. I'm not saying that. I'm saying that it's very, 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 very probable that no gods exist. I'm highly, 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 highly confident no gods exist. Now, could I be
Okay.
wrong? Yes.
So maybe a better example is we've got a six-sided die under a cup.
Mm-hmm.
We know it's not a one. We know it's not a three, but because of that, you're more confident it's not odd because the only one left is a five. The rest are evens. So you're confident it's an even now.
Right.
So you're saying I'm a hard evenist. Is that
Yeah.
fair?
Yes, that's fair, except instead of a six-sided die, make it a 6 trillion-sided die and eliminate all the
Okay.
numbers except for one. And then the question is
But you haven't eliminated all the numbers except for one in the trillion example.
right. Right. So that's my point is. I'm using your same example, just changing the probabilities. So I'm saying the probability of a God existing is so low that you can say you know. It's like
But how
saying
do you know the probability is so low?
through many reasons. In fact, you can just ask Christians the reason why, like I did earlier when I started this live stream. How do you know Islam is not true? How do you know Judaism isn't true? How do you know the Calvinism isn't true? They'll give you your answers, and it seems to suffice for them, right? Why can't I, as an atheist, give the same answers and have it suffice to say that no gods exist?
Because I think this is the cop out for the black theist is what about the gods we haven't even considered yet?
Yes, and I brought that up. I said maybe in 2022, a God that exists is out there and is finally going to reveal himself. Uh, I'm still open to that idea, and at that point, I'll just say, "Hey, I'm wrong. I'm no longer a hard atheist."
Aren't you still? Yeah, I think I get hung up on that because it still seems like
I still have provisional knowledge. Think of it from the scientific point of view. Would it be okay for a scientist to say, "I know this pen will fall when I let go"? If you're on planet Earth,
okay.
yeah. Now,
Yeah, that I think that
but
helps. Yeah,
but we all know that it could go up, right? If you are a valuer of truth, it could go up. So is it wrong for a scientist to
right.
say, "I know the pen's going to fall"?
Every example we've been provided with so far justifies the claim that it will
Yes.
fall.
So I'm now thinking that as an atheist, just like I can say, I know the pen's going to fall, I know there are no gods. Even though there's a chance I'm wrong.
Okay, I'll have to stew on that.
Oh,
I actually am. You've converted me
Mason,
potentially.
Mason, I saw the sparkle in your eye. We're going to have a whole
Yeah.
flood of new hard atheists.
Well, I originally had an issue with the dice or tic tac analogy because you're taking a probabilistic approach, but I think with other situations like with gravity and the pen,
Yeah,
I think we use the probabilistic approach still
yeah,
and come to a hard decision
yep,
where normally we
exactly.
wouldn't.
I'm a hard
Yeah,
gravityist, right? You, Mason, are a hard gravityist. But
you don't
when
know that. I haven't said anything.
I'm I'm agnostic towards gravity.
Yeah,
Or the effects of gravity to
yeah.
be more specific. Okay, so far you
I'll
haven't
stew on it. You
uh,
haven't converted me, but I'll stew on it
well,
a little
I
bit.
haven't converted myself yet, but I think the reason why people like Steve McRae talk about this at length and why Christians talk about this at length is because they're tired and their buttocks are red from all the spankings they've been getting, and they're saying, "Why can't you guys have a burden of proof for once?" And so that's why
Right.
it's such a huge issue. But anyhow, I got Joel just popped in, and he wants to. He's seeing that I'm falling into the precipice further, and he wants to pull me out. I think.
Yeah. Let's see if we'll pull us both back.
Okay,
Thanks
thank
for
you.
talking.
Yeah, see you, Mason. Hey, Joel.
Hey, Doug.
So, are you here to save me?
Yeah, well, actually, first off, a little clarification on ichtheism.
Yeah.
As I understand it, it's basically saying that you need to define your terms first. So, God has so many different definitions that if you just say, I do or don't believe in a God, it's kind of a useless statement without more context.
Yeah.
And I would even go, personally at least, go further. I'm not sure if there's a proper term for this, but I would say that I don't really see God or even supernatural as a coherent concept. I've kind of heard that lumped under the umbrella of atheism before.
I actually
Not
do think that's a good point you're bringing up, but I can conceive of the supernatural or theism as being somewhat coherent. And here's an example. And tell me if you agree
okay.
with it. So
Mhm.
imagine, if you will, a God that is actually made of stuff that you and I would call material,
Mhm.
And imagine this God is very powerful, but not all powerful. Imagine this God being very knowing, but not all knowing. And imagine this God even having a temper once in a while and getting things wrong once in a while, but had enough power to create the universe. But because he's not all powerful, he screwed up, and that's why you see the universe you see today. He meant to make it 99% sustained to life, and ended up being one because he forgot to carry the zero in his fine tuning math. And so you you can conceive of this. Basically, I'm describing a version of Thor or Odin, and
See,
yeah.
I wouldn't consider that to be supernatural. I mean, if it's made out of matter, how is that supernatural?
Yeah, I guess it's just super duper natural. You know what I mean? It's still natural, but it's just supernatural. It's like you can have glue and then you can have super glue. It's both glue.
See, the thing I always have a hard time with in that context is the only way we can ever experience anything is through the natural world. And so the only, like, even if there is something wholly outside of the entire cosmos, if that even makes any sense, um, the only way that we can ever have any knowledge of it whatsoever is by its manipulation of the cosmos. So, I mean, to me, cosmos, the natural, they're just synonyms for reality, basically.
Okay, so what I'm hearing you say is I should just become an atheist.
I'm a pretty staunch advocate, yep.
Okay.
But
Okay.
as
Well,
far as weak atheism versus strong atheism goes, uh, in all practicality, I'm a strong atheist, but I think it's still adopting a burden of proof that I can't quite meet.
okay. Gotcha. Okay, fair enough. Thanks for coming in, Joel, giving your opinion. I got Erica who wants to save me.
Sounds good.
Erica, are you here to help or to hurt?
No, I'm here to hurt.
Okay.
I have honestly been thinking the exact same thing. I'm just like I'm ready to start making some claims and defending them. So I'm just here to say, if you want to deconvert, I will deconvert with you.
Okay. What do we do? Do we have to hold hands and say a prayer?
I don't know. Walk to the altar.
Yeah.
But yeah, I've literally been feeling the same thing. I'm like, I am so tired of this. Like, well, we don't have the burden of proof, you do, and I'm like, yeah, I'm ready to take it. But at the same time, I don't have a YouTube channel, so I'm not going to get all the backlash. You are, so
Yeah. Well, I'm kind of helping people like us who are feeling the same way by what I did at the very intro of this live stream. This is how I think you defend it to a specific Christian or a specific theist is well, maybe that's more of a defensive for atheism because you notice how Cameron just said, do you have evidence against God?
I missed part of that. So,
okay. Anyhow,
yeah.
He just said that. And it kind of bothers me in a way that they just assume, well, of course, we're talking about my God.
Exactly. I'm like, yeah, I have a lot of evidence against your God, and I have a lot of evidence against a lot of other ones. They want you to look in every corner of the universe before saying there is no God. But when they define a God in this certain way, it's really easy to just knock it down.
Yeah. Are you coming tonight to poker?
No, I have dress rehearsal. You won't see me for a while.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, you said that the other day. Okay. Well, we need a token female to take Erica's place. If there's any female out there who wants to play, email me and come in. Yeah. Okay. Right. So we're almost down at the bottom of the pit, it sounds like, but there's still hopes that someone can pull us back out. We'll see.
Okay.
Take
Let
care.
Me know.
Room's open. Thank you for the donation, Tony D. And I missed another donation. Thank you for that one. I am God. Can you prove that I'm not? Yeah, see, this is where atheism, I think, is more useful than atheism, because when Tony D tells me he's God, what does that mean? What's the claim there? that you can reverse entropy? Because if that's your claim, okay, then I can prove you're not that type of God. I'm a hard atheist, says Bill Shirk. Wow, that's amazing. See, but here now this is pulling me out of hard atheism, because if Bill Shirk is a hard atheist, and he's the biggest loser who's ever shown up on my channel by being here twice, maybe I should stay an agnostic atheist. Okay. Hey, Travis. Hang on, say that again. I had some feedback, but now you're good.
All right, good. Yeah, there's some construction here. So agnosticism, I've been a big proponent of it for about 10 years or so. I think it's kind of the way to go for atheism.
Ig, not egg.
I think AG is kind of wishy-washy atheism, like you're just trying not to offend people. Strong atheism is kind of saying something but kind of nothing. Atheism is basically putting forward like that you still really don't understand what the theory is of God. Like you're still really like not sure.
But what if? But okay, but you have Christians who think they know exactly the mind of God, or not exactly, but pretty close.
Right.
Can't you say you're a strong atheist against that specific version of God?
Well, I just point out, like, we have 5,000 different religions, all with people saying the same things. So we need a way to naturally explain this phenomenon. So either, like, is it that, most of them did it naturally and imagined it and, made up of these fables and myths? And then there's only like...
Yeah, I hear what you're saying. You're giving like the evolutionary argument.
Is there just one that, had this supernatural inspiration, this magical revelation that, or is it, the thing that does it for me, and I really want like this to be brought up more, is cargo cults. You can see deep religious belief in what everyone knows is like a made-up, man-made religion based on, just a fundamental misunderstanding of what technology is.
Yeah, I hear what you're saying, but
engineering is, right?
I hear what you're saying, Travis. But I think what you're talking about now is you're defending hard atheism more than atheism, because you're basically you're explaining why that maybe there's an evolutionary reason for all these religions, all these concepts of God, and thus maybe none of these gods exist, which is different than atheism, which says it's an incoherent. You're just making a declaration, no gods exist.
I'm also explaining both. I'm kind of like fitting all the pieces together. So I'm saying, like, the concept of God won't make sense because people are making it up, because they're imagining it, because these fatal psychological evolutionary flaws in our psyches cause them, because we have confirmation bias and groupthink, because we teach our kids the religions our parents taught us, like the cycles continue over and over.
I think you don't want to be a hard atheist because of what happened to your eye. You said to a Christian that you were a hard atheist and they punched you in the eye. Is that what happened?
That has never happened. I have been punched in the face a few times.
Okay, anyhow,
unconscious, yeah.
I got several other people who want to hop in. Thanks for hopping on, Travis.
But yeah, agnosticism is the way.
Okay.
I love asking, like, what do you mean? Like, keep drilling down what the God is, and you'll realize they don't know. All right, bye.
See ya. Cameron Bertuzzi's still texting me. Yeah, just hit the X and you're out.
Oh, okay.
What do we got here? Ian. Okay, let me get rid of Travis because he's having difficulty. Actually, Daniel's showing his face. I'm going to let him in first. At least he was. Hey, Daniel.
Hey, how's it going? Also, no, Doug, don't do it.
Don't do what?
Don't go to the dark side of hard atheism,
Why?
because then you'll never get on AXP.
Oh, I'm not going to get on AXP anyhow because of my political views.
Okay, fair enough.
Yeah, because I live in a KKK community and I have a dog named Adolf.
Right, I forgot about that. Yeah. Well, you have to remember, of course, that the Calvinist God decreed before the creation of the world that you would be a hard atheist, so you can't really help it anyways.
That's true. Like the Calvinists probably, yeah, they don't care. Yeah.
If you go down this route, as Erica said, she might go with you. I'll be there singing just as I am. We can all convert to hard atheism.
Remind me, Daniel, what are you? What label do you put on your back?
Atheist, agnostic atheist, I guess.
Oh, okay. So you're one of those weak ones who just want to please people.
That's true.
Yeah, okay.
I used to be a hardcore independent Baptist, but
so you used to be a hard theist. Yes?
Very much so, yes. Yeah.
But you can't be a hard atheist.
I know, it's crazy.
And it's because
I just
okay, let me see if I can convert you. Okay?
Okay.
Do you know this pen will fall if I let go? We're on planet Earth. Ground's beneath me. My camera's not inverted. Assuming that's all true.
Can I do lean yes, lean no?
Okay. Well, let's be more specific though. Okay. What are the chances this pen will not fall if I let go, in your view?
Exceedingly low.
Exceedingly low. But would you use the term to your children, to your mother, to your grandparents, that you know this pen will fall if you let go?
Yeah, I would say that.
Okay. So even though there's a chance that the pen might go up or stay where it is, you would still use the word no. I know the pen will fall, yes?
Yeah, I would.
Okay. So in the same way, just as there's a chance that a god or gods may exist, you would still say you know there's no gods existing. Uh-oh. I'm getting that same look in your eyes like the other guy had.
Oh no, it's happening.
We're getting a tidal wave of hard atheists today.
Just as I am.
What kind of... Were you a pastor?
I was not a pastor. I mean, I had preached in a few services. I led music.
You were a worship leader.
Yeah, I mean, we didn't call it that because we thought that was a liberal term, you know.
Oh yeah, can't use any liberal terms.
Yeah,
wow.
You were the music leader or song leader.
So you were in a really conservative Baptist church then.
Extremely so. Yes.
Did the women wear head coverings? Was it that bad?
No.
Okay, but they were silent though.
Yes. Yep. Absolutely. And
could they vote?
Although, yes, they could vote as long as they, of course, with everyone else, as long as you voted the right way.
Hey, you know, I was when I was very young, I was in a very conservative Mennonite church that believed that women should be silent in the church when it came to teaching and so forth. And then I remember, I don't know how old I was, maybe 14, 15, and I asked, well, hang on, can women vote here? And the pastor said, yeah, they can vote. Well, you're giving them way more power. Like you're saying they shouldn't teach and whatever, but you're giving the power to decide what should be taught through giving them the vote. And I said, to be consistent, you shouldn't allow women to vote if you're saying women shouldn't teach in the church. Right?
Right. Yeah, anti-suffrage. Let's do it.
So all the Christians listening right now who believe in your church that women should not teach or have authority over men, and you still let women vote in the church, which can change which man is the pastor and so forth, you're giving women authority over men. You got to stop it. You got to basically prevent your women from voting. You know what? There's going to be Christians who listen to this and say, that PineCreek actually makes sense there.
I'm going to go back to my old church and try to introduce that as a new...
Okay. Well,
see how well it goes over.
Daniel, welcome to Hard Atheism. Is your...
I haven't I know I might be leaning that way, but I'm not.
I saw the look in your eyes. It's the same look in the eyes when I ask a hard question to Christians, and then they know they're in trouble.
We'll
It's
see.
yeah. Anyhow, take care, Daniel. I still
Thanks.
love you.
Later. Likewise.
Okay, who do we got here? Who's showing their face? Big Dog Johnson. Uh-oh.
Hello?
Hey, Big Dog Johnson.
I think that you should do it. I'm sitting here in my closet right now, and you said you're going to come out of the closet as
Yeah.
a hard atheist, so I can walk out with you.
Okay. Man, you're putting pressure on me. You're like a pastor at the front of the church saying, I need to raise that hand right now. I need to see this commitment made today.
Yeah, start playing some music, speaking in tongues.
Yeah. Well, unfortunately, I can't get up and walk because then you won't see me. But
Oh, okay.
But are you the same as Erica, that you were a agnostic atheist or called yourself that, and now you're leaning towards hard atheism?
I would say maybe I call myself agnostic, but then I call myself atheist. I kind of switch back and forth. It's just kind of where my confidence is, but I don't really call myself an agnostic atheist. It's just kind of depending on where my mind is at the time, you know?
Are you okay with taking the burden of proof of atheism?
Yeah, I'll do it. It could be more difficult than, I guess, just calling yourself an agnostic atheist. But I mean, I understand why people would want you to just take the burden of proof. So
maybe I should become just a closeted hard atheist, right? Like I can. So I'm not a hard atheist, Big Dog Johnson. I'm a closeted hard atheist.
This is like the Norm Macdonald joke.
Yeah, exactly. I love you now that you know Norm Macdonald in that joke. Okay. Well, thanks, Big Dog.
Yeah. Good luck with your decision. I can walk out of the closet right now if you need me to.
Yeah, show me an example of how to do it.
Let's do it.
Let's do it.
I'm not afraid, world. Here I come. Out of the closet.
Yes, you can now be who you were meant to be.
Take care.
See ya. Oscar and Jeff. Oh, you know what, Oscar? I'll take you, but I'm gonna let Jeff come in first. Hey, Jeff.
Hey, Doug. How are you?
I'm pronouncing your name correctly, correct?
Yes, that is correct.
Okay. Are you here to save me, or to push me off the cliff?
I'm here to ask, do you think that hard atheism requires a knowledge claim?
I think, yeah, by definition of hard atheism. Because you're saying
So
you know no God exists. Now,
right, would your knowledge claim be that there's insufficient evidence, or?
Would my knowledge claim, can it include insufficient evidence?
If you were to make the jump to hard atheist, what do you think your knowledge claim would be?
The same as with the pen. I know that no God exists. If currently I'm a closeted hard atheist, so I'm not a hard atheist. I'm closeted. But so you're asking me how I would defend that knowledge claim, and
yeah,
to take it from mere belief to an actual claim. I would say I would start going down the list until people fall asleep. So no, seriously, I think that's a good strategy. So if you are talking about Allah, you talk about things like, well, I think the claims made in the representative that Allah says is his are not true, and here's why. And then the Christians get bored of that. Yeah, we all agree with you, Doug. And then go to the next God, and then go to the next God, until finally people just say, enough. Okay, I got to go eat supper. Now, and then if someone wants to say, well, but Doug, how do you know there's not this nebulous, weird type of God out there that you're not even heard of? Well, yeah. But that's sort of like saying, well, Doug, what if the pen goes up? Well, yeah. But let's wait and see if it does. I mean, we have no reason to think it will go up. But once it does, then we'll talk. So is that fair, you think?
I think that's fair. Good place to start. So where are you leaning to? Where are you at right now with the conversation today? Are you at how on the
Well,
fence are you?
well, right now I am leaning towards hard atheism, but as I said, I'm closeted still. So I will deny it if anybody asks, because I'm closeted. I'm not ready for the pain and suffering that will ensue. Because if there's any persecuted people on the planet, especially in the United States today, it's the hard atheists, right?
Yeah, that's true. I'm having trouble with the knowledge claim aspect with it, where it would. I mean, there could very well be some god out there that just created it and walked away, and is
Yeah.
not this personal involved, reading your thoughts and cares about your opinions on things.
Right.
So I'm not ready to make the jump in that aspect, but
But
I just think that
do you know that that there's no 12-legged purple spotted unicorns in the universe? Do you know that?
Exactly. Yeah.
And
Brussels teapot kind of thing.
yeah, and when you put it like that, as silly as it sounds, it still resonates the truth that sure, it's possible. Anything's possible in the magical kingdom, right? But we would still say, no, we know that doesn't exist.
Yeah, with a lot of these, when you see these apologists that say, what is your evidence that God doesn't exist? If you substitute God with fairies or unicorns and ask the question again, you realize that the substitution example, it doesn't pass. It sounds ridiculous.
Yeah.
That's what I tend to do with questions like that.
But if anybody who is leaning towards hard atheism and wants help with the burden of proof, the two biggest ones are the problem of evil and divine hiddenness. Like, to me, it is a contradiction within the biblical God that he hates sin yet creates, knowing that sin will result, and is self-sufficient and doesn't need people, doesn't need worship, doesn't need, he's okay without creating at all. And then oh yeah, let's create something that I know will lead to something I hate.
Yeah,
I mean,
when he's all knowing and all powerful, so he knew what the result was before he even created, and he had the power to create just a little bit differently to make things happen a little bit differently. So
yeah.
Yeah.
And then when Christians try to fix that problem by saying, well, maybe God didn't know, or maybe God's not all powerful, or he does need worship, or he does need to express his love in order for love to be complete. Basically what they're doing is they're stripping away the omni features of God one by one and making God more like you.
Mm-hmm.
And that's fine, and that God could still exist, but we still don't have any reason to think so because of divine hiddenness. So you can just pivot from once the Christian or Muslim or Jew starts stripping away the omnis, then you just shift from the problem of evil to divine hiddenness, and you're done. Until the water-soaked napkin lights on fire, then we're back. And then we're talking again.
Yeah, I'm still waiting for an April 1st in the coming years where that'll actually happen on your channel.
Anyhow, thanks for coming on, Jeff.
Thanks, Doug.
Did you play poker?
Occasionally.
Tonight, you want to play? 10 to 50?
I'll shoot you an email.
Yeah, shoot me an email, and I'd love to have you.
All right, thanks. I'd love to come.
Okay, see ya. Okay, Oscar's next.
Still waiting for April 1st.
I hope your audio is good today, Oscar.
I think it should be better.
Yeah, it is better. Computer. Good.
Yeah, so I think you got a definition of hard atheist wrong, right? Being an atheist is just believing that there are no gods, right? It's not knowing. Theism isn't knowing that there is a God, it's believing there's a God, right? You can be a doubting theist. In the same way, you can be a doubting atheist.
Okay,
right?
Fair enough. But I believe no gods exist.
Yeah, that's hard atheism. The lack theist is I lack a belief, like entirely. It's a very weird.
Okay, but what's the difference between saying I believe very, 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 very strongly that no God exists and saying I know no God exists?
So I don't know, like the knowledge claim. It's weird. Like, do you need absolute things for any position? Like I'm a nominalist, so I don't believe in abstract objects. But I'm not claiming like I'm 100% certain. I'm just like, this is my position.
But I can say,
You're a Republican. That just means you think that party is better, right? You don't know it.
but I believe this. I believe very, very, very strongly this pen will fall if I let go. Am I a hard gravitist?
Yeah, but I think the term is just weird. Like I am a hard atheist, or just a normal atheist. But you can be a hard atheist and believe like 60%, and be 60% sure that theism is false. That's still hard atheism because you believe that no gods exist. It's not that you lack a belief in God; you actually believe that it's false, right? So the difference is like not having an opinion and having the opinion that it in fact does not exist.
Okay, you're giving me an out here.
Yeah. I mean, you know James Fodor?
Yeah.
Yeah. He's like 90% sure God doesn't exist.
Maybe we
He's
should
a
just
hard
get
atheist.
maybe we should just get rid of all the labels entirely and just use numbers.
I'm
Right.
a 90% sure. Yeah, maybe.
Because, like, what's the difference if I say I'm 99.9% sure no gods exist? Aaron Ra would call me still a hard atheist, right? And saying I know no gods exist. Like scientists, when they make correlations and they can explain through regression analysis 99.9% of the data, they don't say I believe, they say they know. It's provisional knowledge, but they still use the word know.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, I do too. But do you think you can call yourself a theist and be like 90% sure that God exists? Like you don't know God exists. You just think it does, right? That makes you a theist, right? It doesn't make you a sort of lack atheist or something.
Yeah, I hear what you're saying, that there's theists who have varying degrees of confidence. But would you be prepared to tell a theist who's, let's say, 70% confident that God exists that they don't know he does? Or what would you think they would say?
Oh yeah, for 70%, right?
Where's the cutoff between belief and knowledge?
Yeah.
Is it 90, 95? I asked this question the other day.
I think knowledge is just a word you say when you can't imagine yourself being wrong about something. But I can't imagine myself being wrong about the pen falling. Right? I sort of know there's a possibility, I guess, but like I can't imagine. And I was right. Like that's when I use the word no. It's not. Yeah.
Okay.
It's bragging about how sure you are or something.
Okay, I hear where you're coming from. So you're saying I should just say I'm a hard atheist, but bring my percentage, make sure my percentage is below 100, basically.
Yeah. Just say like I believe God doesn't exist, right? That's what you believe, right?
Right. But I think I would also use the word no, though, is my point, because my confidence is so high.
Oh yeah. That's about all gods, or yes, about like certain gods.
Yeah. Anyhow, Danny's waiting, and I'm sure he'll clear all of this up because he's a philosopher.
Yeah. Also, a quick point. I think the word you were searching for earlier was apatheist, which is the one like I don't care. Like,
yeah.
Why should it matter?
Which is different than atheist.
Atheist is like I don't understand the concept.
Right. Yeah. Got it. Okay.
Or like I doubt the concept isn't coherent. Yeah.
Got it. Okay. See ya. Danny's the only person who knows all this stuff, so we'll clear it up here.
Well, I did listen a little bit of that, but I guess I was agnostic until I met John Maddox, and John Maddox was basically called me a phony, or what do you call it? He didn't call me, but he said agnostic.
John Maddox, this guy here?
You can't help but smile like a little bitch.
He said that agnostics are just like playing around with, they're not men in terms of like establishing a position. So I'm like, oh, whatever, then I'm an atheist. But I think that when you're talking about these terms, like, you would never really you would never really dwell on this if you're on some lonely island. I think in the end we use terms to communicate. And I think what a lot of people mean by God is a certain kind of mind with human psychology, right? We really don't care about the sort of mind that is just interested in turning over stones on the other side of the cosmos, right? No one is entertaining that concept. No, that's not what people mean by God. They're talking about this mind that has like this human psychology. And if that's what most people mean, then when I say I am fine with saying that I'm an atheist, because that's precisely what I'm rejecting. And so if they say, well, then what about this God that just wants to flip over rocks on the other side of the cosmos and that's all he does? Then I'm gonna be like, well then yeah, my credence level is going to go down, or I might be an agnostic, depending on maybe some further elaboration. But I think that in the end, these terms are just to communicate with people about what we are committed to ourselves.
So we can use different terms depending on who we're talking to.
Right. Yeah. And I mean, yeah, I think that earlier you were saying, what if you're 90% sure? Is that knowledge? I think that just the distinction between being 90% sure that X versus knowing that X just has to do with your account of what it means to be justified, right? Because we know people that are 90% sure that they believe in X, but they don't know it. They're like,
right.
So that difference just to me is just whether you have a good reason, and there, who knows what, there's a whole.
But do we know anything, Danny?
I think so. But I wanted to know what you thought about, like, it seems like all we're talking about is this God that's really powerful, that has like human psychology. I feel like that's all we're talking about in these rooms. I mean, right? I mean, is that, we're not talking about
well, I can tell you, if you say that to a Christian, they'd be very uncomfortable, and a Muslim, to put the word human to describe God. Well, Christians wouldn't be uncomfortable with that because they think a part of God was human. Or no, he was.
Yeah, and they say they were created in the image of God, right? So there is like
yeah.
So I don't know, but that's all I had to contribute.
So if someone asks me, the next caller, if they come in and ask me, Doug, are you a hard atheist? You kind of know me. What would you say on my behalf?
I think you should say yes, because I think that it's very probable that they have this certain conception of God, and I've heard you give a lot of good arguments against that conception, such that you reject it.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, but it depends on who you're talking to.
I feel myself falling here.
Yeah, Stephen Loss does the same thing though. He starts with, rather than, if someone asks him is he an atheist, the first thing he says is like, well, it just depends on the concept, right? Like but most people's concept is this sort of God from the Abrahamic tradition, human psychology, all powerful, and I think we have really good reasons to reject that God, such that we're justified, we believe it, and so we know it.
Okay, man, I almost hit the pit floor here. Okay, thanks for coming on, Danny.
Yeah, bye.
Let's see, who do we have here? Luke. I don't think I've ever talked to Luke, and I love the name Luke. Jay Bundy and Dave, hang on. How you doing, Luke?
Oh, hi. That's so weird. I can hear you in the other room, and I'm not live.
Well, I'm omnipresent, Luke.
That's really weird.
Anyhow, what say you?
I wanted to ask a question to establish a precedent. So, are you agnostic about whether you're a brain in a vat?
No.
You are not. Okay, so I think you should use that same precedent. Whatever precedent you are there, because I think the difference is...
I am a brain in a vat. I'm not agnostic about it.
All right, then there's your answer.
I'm a moist robot, Luke.
You're a moist robot?
Yeah.
Wait, that sounds like your brain in a mechanical vat.
yeah. And theists, they are souls and vessels, and I'm a brain in a vat. So we're all the same.
Believe in God, that you're still a meat robot, but you're a meat robot by God's design. So something about meat robotness is a good design for whatever God's goals are for
wait, Luke, do you believe in God or do you believe in the Force?
I'm more of a Force guy.
Okay. Well, no, I hear what you're saying. Just try to be consistent, is what you're saying.
Yeah, I think if you're talking on a pragmatic level, which you're prone to do, then I think you would have to be not agnostic on both fronts. But if you want to be philosophical, then I think you'd be an agnostic. So that's
gotcha.
the direction I think you're going with that.
Okay, well, thanks, Luke. If you want to play poker, email me.
Alrighty.
Take care.
Take care.
Jay Bundy.
Doug, how's it going, my friend?
I'm in free fall, Jay.
Yeah, I see you're teetering on some
No,
major
it's
life
getting
choices
worse.
here.
From the beginning of the live stream to now, I've gone from teetering to I'm accelerating downwards at 9.8 meters per second squared.
Yeah, man. So I just think this is super interesting because to me this whole thing is like a bunch of nonsense, and it feels like just like I don't know. Actually, I think some of your previous callers, to be honest, have kind of touched on it, right? Which is that we wouldn't say this about fairies or Harry Potter or anything else, right? Like so to me, like I've recently become more comfortable with this distinction myself, right? Because I have a hard time saying I know something I don't know. And so what I've been able to distinguish now, and this totally not me, but I can't remember where I got it from. But it's basically just a distinction between, okay, I may not know for certain that there's no gods at all in the universe, but all of the evidence I see points to that it's something that's made up. And I think that is a sufficient case to say that something doesn't
Hang on a second.
exist.
You're making me tear up here a little bit.
Doug, I wish COVID wasn't there so I could lay hands on you, bro.
I need a hug.
and get on, I want to get on the drums behind you sometimes when you start preaching, because sometimes too, I really think you touched on this with a couple things you've been talking about lately, but one was really like, do we owe Christians these apologies? Are we being too nice to them? And I think this is kind of an example of it, where their special idea has to have this whole rhetorical debate about what knowledge versus no, and can you really be sure, and who has the burden of proof. And it to me, it for the lay person who isn't a critical scholar and following all these debates on YouTube, I think the fact that so many apologists are like deliberately obtuse, it sets that person up for failure. And that's kind of what I've become uncomfortable with. Like, I've had too many of my Christian friends actually try to hit me with these apologist arguments. And lately I find myself, and I think you've spoken to this too, I've had to just be more clear about the fact that I think a lot of these things are nonsense. And I've had to do that because I feel like I'm infantilizing people. When you said that to me, I almost like literally jumped out of my chair. It's like, no, you're grown. Look, you're grown. Let's just stop all of this nonsense, right? Like, you're grown. And the other thing that drives me crazy about all this is the way that, like, I feel like there is this. All right, you had a whole conversation on your channel about duplicitous, right?
Mm-hmm.
Which is like, okay, but to be honest, I feel like it's an appropriate term, right? Because so much of what people seem to be doing is having a really high self-image of themselves. They're smart, they're critical thinkers, they're following the evidence wherever it should lead.
They have written a book.
Right, but they're not doing these things. And if they were doing these things, their opinion would change. And to be honest, it becomes insulting to those of us who did genuinely believe those things, who then did genuinely follow the evidence wherever it led. And now I have to pretend that you care as much about that as I do, when I've spent God knows how many days, weeks, and hours trying to it's like a person, like, I hate to say it, but a perfect example is the theistic evolution, right? And I get it. And let me be clear. I was a theistic evolutionist, 100%. I just was, okay? So I'm not saying I think a person's awful for feeling that way. But the truth is, it represents a lack of understanding of evolution. The whole theory of evolution is just that it's a totally natural thing. It doesn't require special creation.
I get the gist of everything you're saying here, and I agree with you.
Go ahead.
I agree with you.
I don't want to ramble. Go ahead.
But here's the thing: if we're in the business of changing minds, and not everyone is, that's not my primary goal, but it's probably my second goal. if we're in the business of changing minds, to look someone in the eye and say, it's time for you to grow up, that's not an effective method in my experience of changing minds.
Okay, you just touched on something that honestly pains me, and I don't know which way I'm going on it. I've been hearing a lot of talk lately, and I should also be clear about this. I used to want to be a dating coach. So I spent a lot of time studying social dynamics and how to effectively communicate people and get people to do what you want them to do. And at some point, the thing that really turned me off from all that was I felt it was really disingenuous. In other words, at some point, if I just keep going with what works, am I really trying to have relationship with you and communication with you? Or am I a salesperson? And I've been told that part of my sales pitch is that I've got to be super nice and friendly and pretend I think you're the smartest person on earth. Doesn't that feel like the same creepy stuff that evangelicals do that we think is totally problematic?
You're giving
right?
You're giving the probably the most constructive criticism to street epistemology right now.
I think what they're doing is amazing, right? So I don't know. I'm just saying this it's a real tough one for me. The other problem I have with it is that the people who were leading the apologetics stuff and the people who are doing the indoctrination in the churches and just that whole scene, it's tooling them to resist those type of efforts. So if you're only going to come with the nice, speak softly to me and put kid gloves on, well, you're playing exactly to
You're not respecting them, really.
what they're being trained to refute and not deal with. So if you see what I'm saying?
Yeah,
so
I know exactly what you're saying.
I have with that.
Yeah, you got to treat adults like adults, assume they can take it, be honest, sincere, full disclosure. I get it. Yeah.
That's just where I'm at, but
I got like 5 people who want to come in now because we've triggered something. Take care, Jay.
Appreciate you, and thanks so much for hollering at me the other day in the panel and everything. I always appreciate that. Very kind of you, my friend.
Okay, take care.
Thank you so much.
Okay, I literally just going to give 1 to 2 minutes each here. I got Floyd, Nathan, Ethan. I want all of you to talk.
Hello.
Hey. I just got like a couple minutes and I really got to go pick up my son. So I got 3 people here. We'll do 2 minutes each.
I was a minute behind listening to the other one, and I was listening about 40 minutes ago and then had my tea, so I'm not sure where you got to. But when you were talking about the atheism stuff, I don't know. My understanding of that position generally is that it's more to the effect of that it's not a coherent concept, like what people are talking about when they talk about God. I don't know if that's what you want to talk about now, for where you're at, and then or whether where the dialogue's kind of gone.
Yeah, I think we figured that out. Atheism is not coherent concept. Apatheism is I don't care if God exists or not. Yeah, I think I got it now.
Okay, well, I'm happy to go out of that.
What do you think I am now? If I say I'm extremely confident no gods exist, should I just come out and say, if someone were to ask me, Doug, are you a hard atheist? I should say,
well, I think it falls on how you'd answer this question. So, does God exist?
Does God exist? I would say no.
So I think that means that it's true that you believe God does not exist, which would make you a hard atheist. Right?
Now, I would also say I could be wrong. I'm still a hard atheist, though, right?
I think that's fine. I don't think you have to know, and I don't think that no has to mean you couldn't be wrong.
Right. I say I do know. I'm closeted,
which is okay.
So I'm closeted. So I won't admit this to any Christian or any theist because I'm closeted. I haven't come out of the closet yet. But I would say I know no gods exist. I could be wrong, but I would still make that knowledge claim, and I would still defend it.
Yeah, I think that works out. I mean, you can say that knowledge doesn't entail that you can fail to be wrong. It's just like a really high probability or confidence. And that falls under hard atheism still. Though someone could be a hard atheist and say, I believe, I'm just like 60% confident. And they could still.
I hope Erica hits the bottom of the precipice before I do, because I'm on a soft fall. Did you hear she was here with me?
I didn't hear.
Yeah, she came on, and I don't even know if you know who Erica is, but anyhow, take care, Nathan. Thanks for the advice.
No problem. See you in a bit.
And the clarification. Spartan, you're next. Hey, Floyd, I literally got this couple minutes each. What say you? Oh, you're muted.
Hi, Doug.
Hey.
Yeah, so this is kind of in line with Cameron Bertucci,
Cameron Bertuzzi from Capturing Christianity.
Yeah, he just put out a video, 3 sincere answers.
I played that to start.
You did play it.
I played it for this live stream. You should watch it after we're done talking. You'll laugh your head off, I think.
Yeah, the second question, you can spend a whole hour debating what evidentialism means and so forth. But I think he simply means that for typical questions, you agree that you should have evidence for it. And, I think 99% of people would say, of course you need evidence for it. And then he asks a very legitimate question. Say, okay, well, what's your evidence for believing that God doesn't exist? I think that's a very
What I did was I answered Cameron's questions very directly, and then I started to give my evidence, but I gave it all found in the Quran, and then I pretended I got a text from Cameron saying, no, I meant not the God, not the Muslim God. And I said, and so then I just regave my evidence, but in terms of the Book of Mormon. And then I get another text, and then I gave it the Judaic God. No, and then I gave the Calvinist God. No. Oh, that God you want me to give evidence against? Yeah.
Yeah. When they say God, you can always ask, well, what God? And of course they mean
their God.
Talk to a Christian, it's the Christian God.
Yeah.
But if you're dealing with someone like Darth Dawkins, no, it's just any God at that point, because he wants to show you that you're foolish for being an atheist. And an atheist is not a denial of the Christian God; it's a denial of any God. But okay, now you have to ask, well, what do you mean by God then?
Yeah.
And then from there, okay, well, what we typically mean by God is the God of classic theism. What's that? Omnipotent, omniscient, and omnibenevolent.
Yep. And I would, if that's what they mean, I'd use the problem of evil, and we're done.
Right. Exactly. That's what I would go to right away. Problem evil, and there's your deductive proof. You say, oh, there's no deductive argument against God. I think the problem of evil is a deductive argument.
Yeah. Hey, that's 2 minutes. I really gotta go. I gotta pick up my son. I want to talk to Ethan as well. But thanks for your input. If you want to play poker tonight, email me.
Okay. The last thing, what they'll start doing is stripping out the attributes, so they make an unfalsifiable God.
Yeah.
But it's
and then open theists are born.
Right. Yeah. Go to open theism and go to and dump the omnibenevolent. Be a Calvin, believe in a Calvinist God who's a dick. He's not. He just does whatever the hell he wants.
Yeah.
But I think it's unreasonable to believe in an unfalsifiable God. And in talking to him about that, I would say, well, do you believe in Bigfoot? Do you believe Bigfoot exists? And of course, they say, no, of course Bigfoot doesn't exist. I said, did you search every area of the world
exactly
at once to determine?
Hey, Floyd, I really got to go.
Okay.
See ya. Thanks. I appreciate you coming on, though.
All right, then. I know.
Okay, Spartan, you're finally here. You got 2 minutes. And show your face, because you've done it before. Oh, you're holding your baby. Right? You're either holding a baby or you're farting. Thank you, Nicholas, for the donation. 10 times the faith of the 1% theist that you are. Yeah, I can hear you. There you are. No, you can show yourself. What do you want to say, Spartan? Okay.
I don't know if I'm here or not, but I can't hear you.
You can't hear me? Yeah, you're here. I can hear you. But anyhow, you can't hear me, so I'm going to let you go. That was fun. Don't kids walk home these days? Good point, Doc. player Monot. These kids nowadays always needing to be picked up from here and picked up from there. When I was their age, I would walk to school in 6 feet of snow, uphill both ways. Yeah, thanks Nadimas for the donation. Hopefully see you at poker tonight. I haven't sent the email out yet for the link. It's video and audio poker. $10 to $50 buy-in. No rake, just a fun home game. No limit. Hold them. Like the Texans play. I understand for some people that this whole topic of labels is ridiculous. I get that. I'm partly with you. Thank you, Roger Wenzel, for the very generous donation of $20. Keep up Satan's work. Do I have to split that with Satan? Satan, you don't want money, right? No. You have everything you need. Yeah. He's the messenger of God. The Satan is the messenger of God. You Christians know that? That he does God's work? Do you discuss religion during poker games? We try not to, but of course it comes up. We try to have fun and fellowship. It's the PineCreek Church. Isn't that amazing? That's actually pretty good. A church that plays poker and gambles. Now that's a church. I guess Christian churches do that too. They're gambling that the Muslims are not right. My apologies to Captain Christianity. He was scheduled to come on and listen to my answers that he asked, but we ran out of time.
Shut up, fool!